The first thing I remembered was Ryan screaming my name through a windshield that no longer existed. Glass glittered across the dashboard like ice. My seatbelt had locked so hard against my chest that I could barely inhale. Smoke crawled out from under the crushed hood. Madison was somewhere behind me, sobbing that she could not feel her left hand. The SUV had rolled twice before slamming into the rock wall. I remembered the taste of blood. I remembered the smell of gasoline. I remembered thinking that surviving was supposed to mean the worst part was over. I had been wrong. 3 hours later, in a hospital room with a brace around my neck, a state trooper asked who had been driving. Ryan looked at me before he answered. Madison looked at Ryan. Then both of them looked at me. Sophie was. The words had ended my first life more completely than the crash. I had been unconscious when emergency crews arrived. Ryan had a broken collarbone. Madison had a fractured wrist and a head wound. Neither of them had needed to be cut out of the driver's side. But the rental agreement was in my name. My credit card had paid the deposit. My phone had been connected to the navigation system. And in the cup holder beside the driver's seat, police found an open miniature bottle of bourbon. I had never touched it. There had also been a blister pack of prescription stimulants under the seat. Not mine. By the time I woke, Ryan had already told police that I had insisted on driving despite drinking at dinner. Madison backed him. She said she begged me to switch drivers. She cried while she said it. She had always been good at crying. I spent 11 months proving what I could and still lost everything that mattered. The consulting firm that had offered me a job after graduation withdrew the offer during the investigation. My car insurance tripled. The rental company sued me for damages beyond the policy limit. My university froze the leadership award that came with my graduation record. Ryan broke up with me because, according to him, we needed space from the trauma. Madison stopped answering my calls because she said she could not handle being dragged into drama. 2 years later, I learned they had been sleeping together before the trip. I learned it from a photo Madison forgot to remove from a shared cloud album. The timestamp was 6 weeks before the crash. Ryan's hand was on her waist. Her mouth was against his cheek. Behind them sat the same gray rental SUV we later destroyed. They had planned everything except the crash. The crash had simply given them a better opportunity. When I finally obtained the uncropped insurance file, I learned there had been a pre-trip message chain between them. Ryan, make sure she books it in her name. Madison, she always does. Ryan, and she'll drive if we keep drinking. Madison, she hates being irresponsible. Ryan, exactly. They had not planned to die. They had planned to use me. The crash turned manipulation into a felony-sized disaster. And because I had been the person who handled everything, every document already pointed in my direction. My first life did not end in prison. It ended more slowly. Debt. Legal fees. A ruined professional record. A mother who kept saying she believed me while quietly taking extra shifts because I could not pay rent. A father who died before my appeal finished. And a relationship with myself so damaged that I stopped trusting my own memory. 5 years after the crash, I stepped into a crosswalk during rain. I saw the headlights. I could have moved. I did not. Then I woke up in my childhood bedroom with my heart slamming against my ribs. For several seconds, I thought I was back in the hospital. Then I saw the faded glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. My graduation gown hung from the closet door. My suitcase sat open on the floor. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. The date was May 22nd. The morning of the trip. I sat up so fast I got dizzy. Another message arrived. Ryan, morning, road trip boss. Ryan, we leave at 9. Madison, don't forget snacks. Madison, also I call front seat when Ree gets tired lol. My hands went cold. I opened the group chat. Everything was exactly where I remembered it. The motel reservations. The hiking schedule. The restaurant booking. The rental confirmation. My name beside primary renter. Ryan listed as an additional driver pending verification. Madison not listed at all. In my first life, Ryan said his license verification app was glitching, so I told the rental desk we would fix it later. We never did. That meant I was the only authorized driver. It also meant that when police asked who had been driving, the paperwork already gave them a reason to believe the lie. I looked at the clock. 6:14. The rental pickup was at 8. I did not call Ryan. I did not call Madison. I opened the rental app. I canceled the reservation. A warning appeared. Cancellation fee, $185. I paid it. The confirmation email arrived at 6:18. Reservation canceled by primary renter. No vehicle released. Then I opened the payment app. I removed Ryan from the shared travel wallet. I removed Madison too. I transferred the remaining trip funds back to each person based on their contributions. Then I took screenshots. At 6:27, I emailed both of them. I am not attending the graduation trip. I woke up with severe stomach pain and vomiting and am staying home. I canceled the rental reservation because it was in my name and I will not be present to rent, drive, insure, or guarantee a vehicle. Please make your own transportation arrangements. I will not authorize another driver, provide my license, use my credit card for a replacement vehicle, or assume responsibility for transportation. Have a safe trip. I read it twice. Then I sent it. My body shook after. Not from fear of the trip. From the unfamiliar act of removing myself before anyone gave me permission. At 6:31, Ryan called. I let it ring. At 6:32, he called again. At 6:33, Madison called. At 6:34, Ryan texted. Ryan, what the hell? Ryan, you canceled the car? At 6:35, Ryan, answer me. I turned my phone face down. Then I did the strangest thing I had ever done. I lay back in bed. The ceiling stars had started peeling at the edges. My mother had bought them when I was 10 because I was afraid of the dark. I had not noticed them in years. At 6:42, someone knocked on my door. My mother pushed it open. You okay? I put one hand over my stomach. I'm having stomach cramps. Her face changed immediately. Bad? Pretty bad. That part was not entirely false. Stress had tied my abdomen into a knot. Do you need urgent care? Maybe later. You're supposed to leave today. I'm not going. She leaned against the doorframe. You were excited about this for months. I know. Did something happen? I looked at her. In my first life, she had sat beside me in court wearing the same navy cardigan she wore to parent-teacher conferences. She had sold her engagement ring to help pay my lawyer. I swallowed. I think something would happen if I went. Her brow creased. What does that mean? I don't know how to explain it. Did Ryan do something? Not yet. Or maybe already. Yes, I said. Her face hardened in a way mothers reserve for men who hurt their daughters. What? I'm not ready. She nodded. Okay. No interrogation. No demand for proof. Just okay. I almost cried. At 6:48, Ryan called again. This time, my mother looked at the screen. You want me to answer? No. You sure? Yes. I picked up. What? Sophie, what are you doing? Ryan's voice was low and furious. I told you. You canceled the SUV. Yes. Without asking us. It was my reservation. We all paid. I refunded your contributions. That is not the point. What is the point? The point is we leave in 2 hours. Then rent another car. A pause. We can't get the same rate. That's unfortunate. Sophie. What? You're being insane. I'm sick. You don't sound sick. I didn't know stomach pain had a required voice. He exhaled sharply. Fine. Don't come. But reinstate the reservation and add me as primary. No. Why? Because I won't be present. You don't need to be present. Just send me your driver's license photo and I'll handle it. No. Another pause. Longer this time. Then his tone changed. Softer. The Ryan voice that had made me forgive him for forgotten birthdays and suspicious messages and every small act of selfishness. Baby, come on. This trip matters to all of us. I know. We planned it together. I know. Madison's already crying. That seems excessive. She thinks you're mad at her. I'm not. Then help us fix this. You can rent your own car. My card's near its limit. That had been true in my first life too. I had learned after the crash that Ryan carried almost $11,000 in revolving debt. He had hidden it from me. What about Madison? She doesn't have enough available credit. Also true. Madison spent like money was a rumor. So take the train. That ruins the whole trip. Then don't go. His voice flattened. You really don't care. I closed my eyes. I remembered him looking at the trooper. Sophie was driving. No, I said. I care enough not to put my name on a car I won't be in. He went quiet. Then, did somebody say something to you? There it was. Not concern. Fear. What would they say? I don't know. Then why are you asking? Because this is weird. I'm sick. You canceled everything before telling us. The car was in my name. That's never bothered you before. I looked at the wall. Exactly. It bothers me now. He hung up. At 7:02, Madison texted. Madison, is this because of me? Me, no. Madison, Ryan says you're acting paranoid. Me, I canceled a reservation in my own name because I'm not attending. Madison, we literally need the car. Me, then rent one. Madison, mine won't approve a deposit that high. Me, then use a different transportation option. Madison, you know I get carsick on trains. Me, I'm sorry. Madison, can you just rebook and send Ryan the QR code? Me, no. Madison, why are you doing this to us? I stared at the words. Doing this to us. In my first life, the crash had happened because I was there. In this life, simply refusing to facilitate their plan was already becoming an injury I had supposedly inflicted. I saved the conversation. At 7:15, I called the rental company directly. A customer service representative confirmed the cancellation. I asked one more question. If another person has a screenshot of my old confirmation, can they reinstate the booking? No, ma'am. Not without authentication from the account holder. Can you put a note on the reservation that I do not authorize reinstatement or use of my driver profile? She paused. That is unusual, but yes. I can document it. Please do. The confirmation number arrived by email. I saved it. At 7:30, I opened my university email and sent my faculty advisor a short note. I am no longer traveling with the graduation group this weekend due to illness. I will remain available remotely for any graduation paperwork. It felt unnecessary. Maybe it was. But I had learned what contemporaneous records could do. They preserved reality before frightened people rewrote it. At 7:41, Madison called again. I answered. She was crying. For real this time. Maybe. Sophie. What happened? Ryan's freaking out. I know. He says we can't rent anything. Then don't go. We already paid for the cabins. You can cancel them. They're non-refundable. That's unfortunate. Can you stop saying that? What do you want me to say? I want you to be normal. I almost laughed. Normal means what? You're the organized one. So? So fix it. There it was. Same script. Different life. I'm not fixing this. Her crying stopped. Not gradually. Instantly. You're serious? Yes. You'd let us lose hundreds of dollars because your stomach hurts? You won't lose the money if you find another way there. We need a car. Then rent one. You know we can't. Then perhaps the trip is not affordable. She inhaled sharply. That's cruel. No. That's arithmetic. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she said, You're not going to leave Ryan alone with me, are you? The question was so perfectly calculated that I almost admired it. Old Sophie would have responded to the implied threat. Jealousy. Fear. Possession. I would have dragged myself into the car just to avoid imagining them together. This time, I thought about the photo from the shared album. Their faces pressed close 6 weeks before the crash. Why would that matter? I asked. She hesitated. It wouldn't. Then have fun. I hung up. At 8:12, Ryan texted a photo. A white crossover parked outside a neighborhood rental office. Ryan, found one. Ryan, hope you're happy. The vehicle was smaller than the SUV from my first life. Different plate. Different company. Different chain of responsibility. My lungs loosened. Me, drive safely. He did not reply. At 8:19, an email notification appeared from the original rental company. Someone attempted to access your canceled reservation. Login denied. I changed my account password. Then I changed the password on my email. Then my cloud storage. Then the shared graduation folder. I removed Ryan and Madison from editing privileges. At 8:34, Madison texted. Madison, did you lock the trip folder? Me, I changed edit access because I'm no longer coordinating. Madison, we need the itinerary. Me, you still have view access. Madison, Ryan says the insurance docs were there. Me, insurance for the canceled rental is irrelevant. No response. At 8:52, my mother brought me toast. You look less sick. I feel less sick. You want to tell me what's going on? I looked at the phone. I think Ryan and Madison were counting on me for more than a ride. My mother sat on the edge of the bed. Money? Responsibility. She frowned. Explain. I booked the car. I was supposed to drive. If something went wrong, everything would point to me. Do you think they planned something? I think they planned to use me. That's not the same thing. I know. That distinction mattered. I did not know they planned a crash. They did not. I did not know they intended to plant alcohol that morning. I only knew what happened before. This life could change. I'm not going, I said. Good. You don't even know the whole story. I know you don't want to go. She shrugged. That's enough. At 9:10, Ryan sent a selfie from the passenger seat. Madison was driving. He captioned it, "You're a replacement chauffeur." I stared at the photo. In my first life, Madison claimed she never drove because she had taken an antihistamine and felt drowsy. That was why I supposedly insisted on driving. Now she was behind the wheel. A clean fact. I saved the image. At 9:16, Madison posted it publicly. Road trip rescued. That mattered even more. By 10, they were on the interstate. I stayed home. I did not track them obsessively. At least, I tried not to. I took a shower. I washed my sheets. I helped my mother sort mail. At 11:30, I opened the shared location app. Ryan had forgotten he still shared his location with me. They were at a gas station 70 miles north. I turned off location sharing from my side. Then I removed him completely. At noon, he called. I answered. What? You disabled Find My. Yes. Why? Because we're not traveling together. That's weird. You keep saying that. Sophie, seriously, what is going on? I told you. You woke up sick and suddenly changed every password, canceled the car, locked the folder, and turned off location sharing. Correct. Did you go through my phone? My pulse changed. No. Did Madison tell you something? No. What would she tell me? Silence. There it was again. He was not asking whether I was hurt. He was testing what I knew. Ryan. Yeah. Are you sleeping with Madison? The question landed between us. He laughed too quickly. What? Simple question. No. Behind him, I heard a car door close. Then Madison's voice. Who are you talking to? Ryan lowered his voice. This is insane. Okay. That's it? Yes. You accuse me of cheating and say okay? I asked. You answered. Sophie. What? You're freaking me out. I almost smiled. Drive safely. I hung up. 2 minutes later, Madison texted. Madison, what did you just ask Ryan? Me, ask him. Madison, he says you're accusing us of something. Me, then you know. Madison, Sophie, gross. Me, okay. Madison, he's basically my brother. I stared at that. Then I remembered the photo. I saved the message. At 1:40, they reached the mountain town where we had planned lunch. In my first life, we ate at a brewery there. I ordered sparkling water because I was driving. Ryan had 3 beers. Madison had 2 cocktails. They bought miniature bourbon bottles at the attached shop. Later, 1 bottle appeared in the SUV cup holder. This time, I watched nothing. I had no responsibility for their choices. At 2:13, Madison posted a photo of a cocktail. Ryan's beer was visible beside it. At 2:19, Ryan posted a video from the brewery patio. The white rental crossover was visible in the background. I took screenshots. Then I hated myself for taking screenshots. I felt like I was waiting for something bad to happen. Maybe I was. The knowledge of my first life had become a poison of its own. I went downstairs. My mother was watering plants. I need to stop looking at their social media. Yes. You didn't even ask why. Because people rarely become healthier from refreshing things that upset them. I laughed despite myself. She handed me the watering can. Do the basil. At 3:12, I deleted the social media apps from my phone. At 4:20, Ryan called. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. Music blasted in the background. Sophie. He sounded drunk. My stomach turned. What? We made it. Where? The Overlook. In my first life, we reached the Overlook just before sunset. That meant the timeline was already different. You're drinking. So? Who's driving? Madison. In the background, she shouted, I'm fine. I closed my eyes. If she's been drinking too, neither of you should drive. Ryan laughed. Mom. I mean it. We'll wait. Good. See? You do care. I said nothing. Then Madison took the phone. Hi, psycho. Hi. We're not going to die. The sentence made my blood turn cold. What? She laughed. Ryan said you've been acting like something terrible is going to happen. I pressed my fingers to my temple. I never said that. You didn't have to. Madison, don't drive if you've been drinking. I had 1 cocktail. Her public post showed at least one. Maybe that was all. I could not assume more. Then follow the law and the rental agreement. She groaned. You are exhausting. Goodbye. I hung up. At 5, I called no one. At 6, I ate dinner with my mother. At 6:45, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from Ryan. I did not listen. At 7:10, I received a text from an unknown number. Hi, is this Sophie Bennett? This is Officer Neal with the State Highway Patrol. Please call me regarding Ryan Cole and Madison Lee. My hands stopped moving. My mother saw my face. What? I called. A calm male voice answered. Ms. Bennett? Yes. Are you currently safe? Yes. Were you traveling with Mr. Cole and Ms. Lee today? No. Were you expected to? I canceled this morning. Do you own or rent the vehicle they were operating? No. Did you rent a vehicle for them? No. I canceled my own reservation before they left. Do you know what vehicle they were in? A white crossover they rented themselves. Do you know which rental company? I gave him the name from Ryan's photo. There was a pause. Thank you. My mouth was dry. Are they alive? Yes. The room tilted. Both? Yes. Are they okay? They have significant injuries. Mr. Cole is conscious. Ms. Lee is being evaluated. I sat down. What happened? There was a single vehicle collision on Route 89 near Copper Ridge. The same road. Different car. Different time. Same mountain. My fingers trembled. Who was driving? We're still investigating. That answer mattered. In my first life, Ryan had answered for everyone before police could establish anything. What do you need from me? Mr. Cole gave your name as the person who organized the trip. Of course he did. What exactly did he say? He said you were supposed to be the designated driver but canceled at the last minute. I closed my eyes. I was supposed to attend. I was not assigned as a designated driver. Do you have documentation of your cancellation? Yes. Please preserve it. I will. Did you purchase alcohol for them? No. Did you provide medication? No. Did you authorize either person to use a vehicle in your name? No. Were you present at any point today? No. He paused. Understood. Officer? Yes? Please send me a secure address or portal for records. I have the canceled rental confirmation and written messages from this morning. We'll provide that. When the call ended, I sat still. My mother crouched in front of me. They crashed? Yes. Are they alive? Yes. She put her hands over mine. You're here. I started crying. Not from relief. Not exactly. From the impossible weight of knowing I had escaped something that still happened without me. At 7:38, another officer emailed a secure upload link. I sent only documents relevant to the questions. My cancellation email. The rental cancellation confirmation. The note that I did not authorize reinstatement. Ryan's message asking me to send my license. My refusal. Madison's request to rebook. My refusal. The photo Ryan sent showing Madison driving. The public version of the same photo. Nothing else. I did not send my suspicions about cheating. I did not send old emotional arguments. Evidence was strongest when it stayed narrow. At 8:15, Madison's mother called. I stared at the name. Then answered. Sophie. Her voice was raw. What did you do? My body went cold. What? Why weren't you with them? I was sick. You were supposed to drive. No. Ryan said you were. He is mistaken. My daughter is in surgery. I'm sorry. She may lose part of her leg. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry. This wouldn't have happened if you had gone. There it was. The first attempt to make absence into causation. I wasn't driving the vehicle. You were supposed to be. No. I was supposed to be on a vacation. There was never an agreement that I would be a designated driver. You always drive. That does not make me responsible for every trip. You canceled the car. It was my reservation. You stranded them. They rented another one. Because of you. I did not force them to travel. Her breathing became ragged. You are unbelievable. I'm not discussing liability with you. Please focus on Madison. I hung up. At 8:21, she called again. I blocked the number. At 9, Ryan's mother called. I let it go to voicemail. At 9:10, a message arrived from Ryan. Ryan, why did you send cops our texts? I stared at it. Me, they asked for records related to the trip. Ryan, you're making this worse. Me, what happened? He did not answer. Instead. Ryan, we need to talk before you say anything else. Me, I will communicate truthfully with investigators. Ryan, Sophie. Me, no. At 9:27, Ryan, Madison was driving because you bailed. I took a screenshot. Then, Ryan, if you'd been there none of this happens. I did not reply. At 10:11, Madison's surgery status became known through a group message from her mother. Pelvic fracture. Severe trauma to the right leg. Internal bleeding controlled. No confirmed amputation yet. The group chat filled with prayers. Then someone asked where I was. Ryan's friend Tyler answered. She canceled this morning. Another person wrote, wasn't she supposed to drive? I did not join. I had spent my first life trying to correct every rumor in real time. It only made me look defensive. At 11, Officer Neal called again. We have additional questions. Okay. Do you know whether Ms. Lee had been drinking before the crash? I saw a social media post showing a cocktail at lunch. Do you have it? Yes. Please upload it. I will. Anything else? Mr. Cole sounded impaired when he called me around 4:20. Did he say he was driving? He said Madison was driving. Did Ms. Lee speak with you? Yes. What did she say? She said she had one cocktail and that they would be fine. Do you have a recording? No. Then we'll treat that as a witness statement. Understood. He paused. One more thing. Mr. Cole states that you had agreed to be the sober driver for the trip. I did not. Do you have any messages about that? I searched the chat. There were jokes. Sophie drives because she hates fun. Mom friend gets the keys. Nothing that established an agreement. Then I found something from 3 weeks earlier. Ryan, who's driving Mountain Day? Me, we can rotate as long as whoever drives is sober and authorized on the rental. Madison, Sophie will. Me, I am not agreeing to drive every leg. Ryan, relax. We'll figure it out. I uploaded it. Thank you, Officer Neal said. At midnight, I finally listened to Ryan's voicemail. His voice was slurred. Hey, Soph. We're staying at the Overlook longer. Mad says the road is easy. Don't be mad. Love you. The timestamp was 6:42. The crash had been reported at 7:03. I saved the voicemail. Then I turned my phone off. Not because I wanted anyone to suffer. Because there was nothing else I could safely do that night. I slept badly. At 6 the next morning, I turned the phone back on. 37 missed calls. 56 messages. And one email from the rental company Ryan and Madison had used. It was forwarded by accident from the group travel address. Rental incident notice. Primary renter, Madison Lee. Additional driver, Ryan Cole. I stared. In the photo, Madison had been driving. But Ryan was an authorized driver too. This time, whatever happened in that car belonged to the people inside it. At 7:30, my mother made coffee. I could not drink it. The police called? Not yet. You expecting them? Yes. Do you feel guilty? I looked at her. Yes. Did you cause the crash? No. Did you force them to drive? No. Did you give them alcohol? No. Then guilt is not the same as responsibility. I rubbed my eyes. I knew something might happen. You knew? I froze. She noticed. Sophie. I had a bad feeling. That's not the same thing. No. It was the closest I could get to truth. At 8:12, Officer Neal called. He told me preliminary evidence indicated Madison had been driving when the vehicle left the roadway. Her blood alcohol level at the hospital was above the legal limit. Ryan's was higher. There was also an open container in the vehicle. My stomach twisted. Is she going to lose her leg? I don't have medical details. Okay. The vehicle's event data recorder indicates speed above the posted limit shortly before impact. Okay. Ms. Lee told another officer that she was driving because the designated driver canceled. I closed my eyes. I was not the designated driver. We have your messages. Good. Ms. Bennett, did you know Ms. Lee planned to drink and drive? No. Did you believe she might? I knew alcohol was part of the trip. I expected whoever drove to remain sober. Did you communicate that? Yes. I sent the message you have. Understood. He paused. Your role appears limited at this time. Limited. The word felt like oxygen. At 9, my university advisor emailed. I heard about the crash involving your friends. I'm glad you were not traveling. Please let us know if you need support. No accusation. No disciplinary notice. No frozen graduation record. Just support. I cried at my desk. At 10:30, Madison's mother posted that doctors had amputated Madison's right leg below the knee. The news hit me harder than I expected. I remembered Madison in my first life, walking into court in heels, crying as she testified that I had been reckless. I remembered hating her. But imagining her waking without part of her leg did not feel satisfying. It felt terrible. Consequences did not become beautiful just because they belonged to someone who hurt you. I sent flowers anonymously to the hospital. Then I stopped. I did not offer money. I did not offer transportation. I did not offer to speak to insurance. I did not offer to fix anything. At noon, Ryan called from the hospital. His voice was rough. I know you're mad. I'm not discussing our relationship right now. We need to get our stories straight. My whole body went still. What stories? You know what I mean. No. Say it. He lowered his voice. Madison was driving because you canceled. That is true in sequence, not in responsibility. Sophie. You chose to travel anyway. We had everything booked. You could have canceled. She was upset. You could have stayed. We didn't think this would happen. Neither did I. A pause. Then, look, the rental insurance may deny coverage because she was over the limit. That's between you, Madison, and the insurer. They're asking whether there was a designated driver plan. There wasn't. There was. No. You always drive. That is not an agreement. You told us you would be responsible. When? He hesitated. I don't remember. Then don't say I did. Sophie, please. His voice cracked. Madison lost her leg. I know. She's going to need help forever. I know. If insurance denies this, her family is screwed. I'm sorry. You could just say the plan was for you to drive. I closed my eyes. There it was. The same request as my first life, only one step earlier. Not yet lie that I had driven. Just establish that I was responsible for keeping them safe. A small sentence. A seed. Then later, when someone needed deeper blame, the rest would grow. No. Sophie. No. You're being heartless. I will not make a false statement. It's not false. It is. She only drove because you bailed. That does not make me responsible for her driving drunk. He went silent. Then his tone changed. Cold. If you do this, we're done. I almost laughed. Ryan, we were done before the crash. What? I asked you yesterday if you were sleeping with Madison. Silence. Long. Heavy. You're crazy. No. You're making this about jealousy. I'm making our relationship over. She almost died. And you're still lying. You have no proof. The words came too fast. He heard it too. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then I said, "Goodbye, Ryan." I blocked him. At 1:15, Madison texted from her own phone. "Madison, he told me you know." Me, know what? Madison, stop. Me, say it. Madison, not now. Me, then don't contact me. Madison, I lost my leg. I stared at the sentence. Me, I'm sorry you were badly hurt. Madison, you're sorry? Madison, you caused this. Me, I was not in the vehicle. Madison, you were supposed to be. Me, no. Madison, Ryan said you promised. Me, Ryan is lying. Madison, you planned the whole trip. Me, I planned lodging and an original rental reservation that I canceled before departure. Madison, because you wanted us stranded. Me, you chose to rent another vehicle and travel. Madison, you knew I was scared to drive mountain roads. Me, then you should not have driven. Madison, I hate you. Me, I understand. I saved the conversation. At 2, my mother asked if I wanted lunch. I said no. At 2:10, I changed my mind. That tiny choice mattered to me. In my first life, accusation had made me stop eating. Stop sleeping. Stop functioning. This time, I made a sandwich. At 3:30, an insurance investigator named Helen Brooks called. She represented the rental company's liability carrier. She asked the same basic questions. Who rented the vehicle? Madison. Who paid? Madison's card, according to the incident notice. Who drove? Police said Madison. Were you present? No. Did you authorize the vehicle? No. Did you promise to serve as designated driver? No. She asked for supporting records. I provided them through a secure portal. 2 days later, Helen called again. We found something I'd like you to clarify. Okay. Ms. Lee says the replacement rental was only necessary because you canceled the original SUV after everyone had already relied on you. That's accurate in the narrow sense that I canceled my reservation. She characterizes that as a last-minute breach of your commitment. What commitment? To provide transportation. I never agreed to provide transportation as a service. We were friends taking a trip together. Do you have any document defining roles? No formal document. But I have messages saying driving would rotate among authorized sober drivers. We have those. Then that is my answer. Helen paused. Thank you. The next week, Ryan's mother sent me a certified letter. It came from an attorney. The letter demanded that I preserve records because the family was evaluating claims related to negligent undertaking, reliance, and emotional distress. My mother read it twice. Can they sue you? Anyone can sue anyone. That's not comforting. It's true. I retained a lawyer. Her name was Maya Patel. She was 38, sharp, and allergic to melodrama. After reading the letter, she said, their negligence theory is weak. Weak isn't zero. No. What's the risk? They may argue you voluntarily undertook responsibility for transportation, then abandoned that undertaking in a way that increased risk. My stomach tightened. I canceled before they rented the replacement. Exactly. She tapped the email. You also returned their funds. You did not leave them stranded roadside. They had independent choices. What about designated driver? Was there an explicit agreement? No. Then we defend with records. What if they say everyone assumed? Assumption is not a contract. I exhaled. Maya kept reading. Interesting. What? They're focusing heavily on your cancellation. Because it's all they have. Probably. She looked at me. Do not communicate directly with either family. I blocked them. Good. Do not post online. Do not defend yourself on social media. Do not delete anything. I won't. Did you know they were having an affair? I suspected the morning of the trip. Why? I hesitated. Behavior. She nodded. Keep that separate unless it becomes relevant. Okay. Did you know they would crash? No. That answer came easily now. Because knowing one previous timeline did not mean causing this one. Maya closed the file. You did the most important thing already. What? You created a clean break before the harm. The phrase stayed with me. A clean break. Not revenge. Not punishment. Just a boundary set before disaster. 3 weeks after the crash, the police investigation reached a preliminary conclusion. Madison had been driving. Her blood alcohol level exceeded the legal limit. Vehicle data showed she entered a curve approximately 20 miles per hour above the advisory speed. There was no mechanical failure. Ryan had been heavily intoxicated but not driving. Both had been wearing seat belts. No third vehicle contributed. The prosecutor charged Madison with impaired driving causing serious bodily injury because Ryan suffered a complicated shoulder fracture and nerve damage. The criminal case had nothing to do with me. That should have ended it. It did not. Ryan gave an interview to a local online outlet. He did not name me directly. He said, the person who was supposed to keep us safe backed out at the last minute. The article framed him and Madison as victims of a graduation trip gone wrong. Comments filled with speculation. Someone identified me from old graduation posts. Then my name appeared. Sophie canceled? Was she the sober driver? Why would you abandon your friends before a mountain trip? People who had never met me decided I had moral responsibility for 2 adults driving after drinking. I wanted to answer. Maya told me not to. Evidence ages better than outrage, she said. I hated how correct she was. A week later, my future employer called. My stomach dropped when I saw the company number. In my first life, this call had ended my career before it started. This time, the recruiter sounded careful. We've seen online discussion regarding an accident involving people in your social circle. I understand. Were you involved? No. I canceled my participation before the trip and was not present. Are you under investigation? No. Have you been charged with anything? No. Would you be comfortable providing documentation if our background team requests it? Yes. Thank you. At this time, your offer remains unchanged. I covered my mouth after the call. My mother found me crying in the kitchen. Bad? No. That one word broke something open. No. It's okay. I started work 6 weeks later. For the first time in years, my life moved forward on schedule. Madison's civil claim arrived in July. Not a lawsuit against me. A demand against the rental company, the bar, and several other parties. My name appeared as a potential responsible person. Maya obtained the demand through discovery. One paragraph said, Ms. Bennett had undertaken to serve as the sober primary driver for the excursion and withdrew without adequate notice, forcing Ms. Lee to operate an unfamiliar vehicle under stressful circumstances. I laughed when I read it. Stress made her drink? Maya did not smile. Don't underestimate narratives. They don't have to be legally strong to become settlement pressure. What do we do? Nothing yet. But we preserve contradiction. She pointed to a social media screenshot. Madison had posted at 9:10 that morning, road trip rescued. Then a story at 9:40, I love driving this little thing. Then another at 1:30, mountain roads are my therapy. Maya raised an eyebrow. Not exactly a contemporaneous record of being forced into terrified driving. I almost smiled. Then she showed me the rental application. Primary renter, Madison Lee. Preferred driver, Madison Lee. Additional driver, Ryan Cole. Under question, are you comfortable operating this vehicle? Madison had checked yes. The form had been signed digitally at 8:23. 21 minutes after Ryan sent me the photo. Clean break, Maya repeated. The words felt stronger now. August brought another surprise. The rental company's fraud unit contacted me. They had discovered that Ryan attempted to submit a reimbursement claim under the canceled reservation. He uploaded a screenshot of my original confirmation and claimed the replacement rental was a substitute transaction connected to the first reservation. The claim was rejected. More important, the submission included a PDF titled driver plan. My name was on it. I had never seen it. Helen sent it through counsel. The document listed, primary planned driver, Sophie Bennett. Backup driver, Ryan Cole. Passenger, Madison Lee. Designated sober driver, Sophie Bennett. Prepared by, Sophie Bennett. My skin went cold. That's fake. Maya nodded. Metadata? Created at 7:58 the morning of the trip. I looked at the time. I had already canceled the rental at 6:18. Who created it? Account owner appears to be Ryan. My hands started shaking. The file was created after my cancellation. After I told them I would not drive. After I refused to send my license. It was not a pre-existing plan. It was an attempt to manufacture one. Maya leaned back. This helps. Why would he create it before the crash? Maybe to convince the replacement rental company. Maybe to organize their story. Maybe because he wanted documentation that shifted responsibility toward you. I remembered my first life. Ryan, make sure she books it in her name. Madison, she always does. I had no copy of that old Timelines message now. But this life was creating its own evidence. Can we prove he made it? The cloud audit identifies his account. We'll subpoena if necessary. At the same time, police obtained phone extractions from Ryan and Madison as part of the criminal case. I did not have access to everything, but enough entered the insurance dispute that Maya could show me portions. At 7:24 that morning, after my cancellation, Ryan, she's not coming. Madison, what the hell do we do? Ryan, rent something. Madison, my card barely has room. Ryan, use it. Madison, and if something happens? Ryan, we document she was supposed to drive. Madison, that's insane. Ryan, it's true. Madison, not anymore. Ryan, doesn't matter. I stared at the messages until the words blurred. Madison had objected. For 6 seconds of text, she had understood exactly what they were doing. Then at 7:32, Madison, fine. Make something showing the plan. Ryan, already doing it. My stomach turned. They had not planned the crash. But before they even got in the replacement car, they had planned a backup story. If anything happened. Anything. A parking ticket. A scratch. A disputed charge. They wanted my name nearby. Maya watched me. You okay? No. Do you want a minute? No. Keep going. At 8:05, Ryan, she won't send license. Madison, then just use the itinerary. Ryan, her name is all over it. At 8:11, Madison, if she asks, I'm driving because she abandoned us. Ryan, perfect. The betrayal was almost boring in its efficiency. That hurt more than if they had been plotting murder. They treated me like infrastructure. A credit card. A driver. A name on a form. A person whose reliability could be turned into liability. Then the affair appeared. Not because I went looking. Because their phone records established who was communicating when. The investigator found messages from weeks earlier. Ryan, after graduation we tell her. Madison, not before the trip. Ryan, obviously. Madison, she'll cancel everything. Ryan, exactly. I read that twice. Madison, I can't afford the cabins if she pulls her card. Ryan, she won't. Madison, you sure? Ryan, Sophie finishes what she starts. There it was. The principle that had governed my first life. Sophie finishes what she starts. Even when the thing finishing her was them. I did not cry. Not then. I went home. I made dinner with my mother. Halfway through chopping vegetables, I put the knife down and said, they were together. She looked at me. How long? At least 6 weeks before the trip. I'm sorry. They didn't tell me because they thought I'd cancel the bookings. My mother's mouth hardened. They used you. Yes. The word hurt. But it also clarified. Used. Not loved badly. Not misunderstood. Used. The civil mediation happened in September. I was not a defendant yet, but Maya recommended we attend because both families kept threatening claims against me. The conference room was neutral and aggressively beige. Madison arrived in a wheelchair. Her right pant leg was pinned neatly below the knee. Seeing her in person stunned me. She looked smaller. Older. Ryan wore a sling and avoided my eyes. Madison's parents sat behind her. Ryan's mother sat beside him. Insurance representatives lined one side of the table. Maya and I sat at the other. A retired judge served as mediator. He began by stating the obvious. This is not a criminal trial. We are here to assess civil exposure and potential resolution. Madison's lawyer spoke first. He described a chain of reliance. Sophie organized the trip. Sophie booked transportation. Sophie was expected to remain sober. Sophie canceled hours before departure. Madison, under emotional and logistical pressure, rented an unfamiliar vehicle. Alcohol was consumed. An accident followed. I listened. If you removed every adult choice between my cancellation and the crash, the story almost sounded coherent. Then Maya spoke. Ms. Bennett withdrew before any replacement vehicle was rented. She refunded funds. She expressly refused use of her license, credit, insurance, or driver profile. Ms. Lee independently rented the replacement vehicle. She identified herself as preferred driver. She later consumed alcohol and drove. There is no legal or factual basis to assign those choices to Ms. Bennett. Madison's lawyer said the designated driver arrangement existed before withdrawal. Maya slid the driver plan PDF onto the screen. This document was created at 7:58 a.m. 99 minutes after Ms. Bennett canceled. Silence. Ryan shifted. The lawyer looked at him. Maya continued. The cloud audit identifies Mr. Cole's account as creator. Ryan's mother whispered something. He did not answer. The mediator looked at him. Mr. Cole? Ryan cleared his throat. It reflected the original understanding. Then why create it after she canceled? Because the rental company needed documentation. The rental insurer's attorney spoke. We did not request such a document. Ryan looked at him. I thought you might. Why list Ms. Bennett as designated sober driver after she had already stated she would not attend? Ryan's jaw tightened. Because that had been the plan. Maya displayed my earlier group message. We can rotate as long as whoever drives is sober and authorized on the rental. Then my follow-up. I am not agreeing to drive every leg. The mediator read both. That seems inconsistent with an exclusive designated driver agreement. Madison suddenly spoke. She always drove. Everyone turned. Her voice shook. She liked control. I looked at her. Not angry. Just tired. Maya answered. Habit is not contractual responsibility. Madison's eyes filled. She knew I hated mountain roads. Maya clicked to the rental form. Preferred driver, Madison Lee. Comfortable operating vehicle, yes. Then the public post. Mountain roads are my therapy. Madison looked away. Her lawyer said, social media exaggeration is common. Agreed, Maya said. Which is why we also have her text to Mr. Cole at 8:27. The screen changed. Madison, this car is actually easier than Sophie's SUV. Madison, I'll drive first. The room went silent. I had not seen that one. Maya had. She gave me a quick glance. Then she continued. Now the alcohol. The brewery records showed Madison purchased 2 cocktails and a canned hard seltzer to go. Ryan purchased 3 beers and 2 miniature bourbons. A convenience store receipt 90 minutes later showed another 4-pack. Vehicle photos from the crash showed an open bourbon bottle in the passenger footwell and a hard seltzer can near the center console. Madison's lawyer objected that purchase did not establish consumption. The blood test did. The criminal record already did. The mediator raised a hand. We're not relitigating intoxication. Madison stared at me. You knew we would drink. I knew alcohol was part of the trip. And you still bailed. I withdrew. You knew Ryan couldn't rent the original SUV. I knew his card limit was high. You knew mine was too. I knew neither of you could afford the original deposit comfortably. So you stranded us. You rented another car 20 minutes later. You made everything harder. I did not make you drive after drinking. Her face twisted. You don't get it. Then explain. She looked at the table. I was scared. Of what? Everything. Her voice broke. Graduation. Money. Ryan. You. Me? You were always ahead. The room went quiet. You had the job. The awards. Your parents trusted you. You always knew what came next. I stared at her. I thought you were my best friend. I was. No. She flinched. I was, Sophie. You were sleeping with my boyfriend. Tears slid down her face. I know. How long? 2 months. Ryan whispered, Madison. She snapped at him. Shut up. The mediator leaned back. This was no longer mediation language. This was collapse. Madison looked at me. We were going to tell you after graduation. After I paid for the trip. She covered her face. I know how it sounds. It sounds accurate. Her lawyer touched her arm. She pulled away. No. Let me talk. Then she said the sentence that finally explained everything. You could recover. I felt something inside me go still. What? If things went wrong. Her voice was barely audible. You always recover. You always figure it out. The room held its breath. She continued. Ryan had debt. I had debt. You had a job lined up. Your credit was good. You could fix things. Maya spoke softly. So Ms. Bennett was expected to absorb financial or logistical consequences because she was more capable? Madison looked at her. I didn't say that. You just did. Ryan leaned forward. This is getting twisted. The rental insurer's attorney opened another document. Then perhaps you can explain this message. Ryan went still. On screen, Ryan, if she books the car, anything that happens is mostly on her account. Madison, that's shitty. Ryan, she has coverage. Madison, true. The timestamp was 4 days before the trip. My hands turned cold. Madison closed her eyes. Ryan stared at the table. No crash plan. No murder. Nothing cinematic. Just casual risk transfer. Anything that happens is mostly on her account. That was enough. The mediator ended the joint session shortly afterward. The insurance carriers refused any theory that shifted liability to me. Madison's family withdrew the threatened negligence claim. Ryan's family did the same. The rental company denied portions of coverage tied to intoxication but paid certain medical benefits under mandatory provisions. Other claims continued among the parties actually involved. I walked out of the building into September sunlight. Maya stood beside me. "You okay?" "I think so." "That was ugly." "Yes." "You did well." I barely said anything. "Exactly." I laughed. For the first time in months, it felt real. Madison eventually pleaded to a reduced impaired driving offense that included serious injury consequences. She received probation, license restrictions, treatment requirements, community service, and restitution obligations. The sentence was not dramatic enough for people online. Some said she deserved prison. Others said losing a leg was punishment enough. I stopped reading comments. Ryan faced no criminal driving charge. But his attempt to submit the false driver plan triggered a separate insurance fraud investigation. He was not sent to prison. He did lose the graduate finance program that had planned to hire him. Their background review found the fraud inquiry and withdrew his offer. I heard that from someone else. I did not celebrate. Consequences were not prizes. They were simply no longer mine. Madison entered rehabilitation. For months, I heard nothing from her. Then one afternoon in December, a letter arrived. Handwritten. "Sophie, I am not asking you to forgive me. I know that is probably the first manipulative thing I would have done before. I would have explained. I would have said I was scared. I would have talked about Ryan. I would have talked about money. I would have made my reasons sound like excuses you were supposed to understand. I am trying not to do that. I lied. I used you. I let Ryan turn your reliability into something we could exploit. I also participated. I want to be clear about that. He did not make me. I was jealous of you. I loved you too, which somehow makes it worse. I thought because you were stronger, taking something from you hurt less. I was wrong. I am learning to walk with a prosthetic now. Some days are awful. Some are not. I keep thinking about the morning you canceled. I was furious because I thought you had ruined everything. Now I think maybe you were the first person who stopped participating in something already rotten. I hope your job is going well. Do not answer unless you want to. Madison. I read it twice. Then I put it in a drawer. I did not reply. Not because I wanted her to suffer. Because an apology did not automatically reopen a door. In January, I moved into my own apartment near work. The building had terrible parking and excellent windows. My mother helped me carry boxes. At one point she held up a framed graduation photo. Ryan stood on one side of me. Madison on the other. Keep? I stared at it. No. She put it in the trash without ceremony. I kept a different photograph. Me and my parents after graduation. No trip. No crash. No hospital bracelet hidden under my sleeve. Just my father laughing because my cap was crooked. In my first life, he died believing I had been wronged but unable to fix it. In this life, he was alive. That fact mattered more than anything Ryan lost. At work, I became known for something unexpected. Boundaries. Not coldness. Not selfishness. Clarity. When a coworker asked me to put a software subscription on my personal card and expense it later, I said no. When a manager tried to make me temporary owner of a client deliverable without decision authority, I asked for the responsibility matrix in writing. When friends planned a weekend trip and someone said, "Sophie can book everything," I replied, "I can book my room." The world did not collapse. People adapted. Good people adapted fastest. That taught me something. The people most offended by your boundaries are often the ones who benefited from you having none. 6 months after the crash, I ran into Tyler at a cafe. He had been Ryan's friend longer than mine. He looked uncomfortable. "Can I sit?" "Sure." He placed his coffee down. "I owe you an apology." "For what?" I believed him. "That's understandable." "No. It wasn't." He rubbed his forehead. "He kept saying you abandoned them." "I withdrew from a vacation." "I know." "He made it sound like you promised to keep everyone sober." "I didn't." "I know that now." I waited. Tyler looked at me. "He also told people you canceled because you found out about him and Madison." "I suspected that morning." "I didn't know." "He said you were punishing them." "That was useful for him." Tyler nodded. "I'm sorry." "Thank you." He hesitated. "Ryan's not doing great." I looked down at my coffee. "I hope he gets help." "You don't want to know more?" "No." And I meant it. That surprised me. In my first life, I had obsessed over him. Where he lived. Whether he and Madison stayed together. Whether he regretted lying. Whether he ever admitted the truth when nobody was listening. In this life, the questions had become small. My life was getting larger. A year after graduation, the university invited alumni back for a career panel. I almost declined. Then I remembered how the first timeline had erased me from every place I earned. I accepted. The lecture hall smelled exactly the same. Dry marker. Old carpet. Coffee. Students asked about consulting, relocation, first-year mistakes. One asked, "What's the biggest thing college didn't teach you?" I thought about rental agreements. Group chats. A white crossover. A mountain road. Then I said that being reliable does not mean volunteering to be responsible for decisions you don't control. The room became quiet. I smiled. Learn the difference between helping and owning. It will save you time. I did not tell them it could save a life. After the panel, my former advisor approached. "You seem different." "I am." "Better?" I looked through the window at students crossing campus. "Yes." Then my phone buzzed. A message from my mother. "Dinner Sunday?" I answered, "Absolutely." No dread. No emergency. No one asking for a card number. No one asking for my license. Just dinner. On the second anniversary of the crash, I woke before sunrise. For a moment, I expected panic. Instead, I felt quiet. I made coffee. I opened the old folder where I had saved the records. The cancellation confirmation. The email. The messages. The driver plan. The insurance findings. Madison's letter. I read none of them. I moved the folder to an external archive and removed it from my desktop. Then I went for a walk. The city was still cool. Delivery trucks moved through empty streets. A bakery was opening. Someone was walking a dog in pajamas. Life looked ordinary. That was the miracle. Not watching Ryan lose his job. Not watching Madison face charges. Not proving everyone wrong. Ordinary mornings. A career that continued. Parents who were still alive. A bank account not emptied by lawyers. A name that still belonged to me. In my first life, I thought revenge would feel like seeing the people who betrayed me suffer. In my second, I learned that suffering was loud but freedom was quiet. Freedom was canceling a reservation. Freedom was refusing to send a license photo. Freedom was not explaining no until it became yes. Freedom was not getting into the car. Later that day, I passed a rental agency on my way to work. A family stood outside loading luggage into an SUV. Someone argued about who would drive. Someone else laughed. For half a second, I smelled gasoline and blood. My hands tightened around my bag. Then the memory passed. I kept walking. I did not need to know whether Ryan and Madison thought about me. I did not need to know if either of them understood the exact moment their plan failed. I knew. It failed at 6:18 on a quiet morning when I pressed cancel reservation. It failed when I refunded their money instead of keeping leverage. It failed when I wrote that I would not authorize a vehicle. It failed when I refused to send my license. It failed when I declined to become the designated driver in a story they created after I left. Most of all, it failed because for once, I was absent from the place where they expected me to absorb the consequences. That was all rebirth had truly given me. Not power. Not perfect knowledge. Not revenge delivered by fate. A pattern. I saw it. Then I stepped out of it. Ryan still chose to drink. Madison still chose to drive. They still chose to lie. They still chose each other. Those choices were theirs. The crash was theirs. The aftermath was theirs. My future was mine. And the morning I faked a stomachache and stayed home, I did not ruin their graduation trip. I simply stopped letting their decisions travel under my name.